Hey, what's up, guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you my Week 3 team builder and battle for NPL versus Aberforth. We are both currently 0-2 right now. I'm 0-2 minus 2, and he has more, I think he's like -7 or -8 or something in alliance of that. So I could still even maybe take this loss and still be okay, but it'd be pretty bad for Aberforth to take a loss and be that far behind on differential. But regardless, we're both trying to win this game here for sure, and hopefully I can come up on the better side of that. Again, if you like what you see here, please like the video, add a comment about how the battle or how you think I built my team went this week. So Aberforth's teams you can see on this side. It's very interesting. From most to least threatening to me is Manaphy, Zardex, Donphan, Togekiss, Scizor, Zeraora, Celebi, Gengar, Alolan Persian, and Archeops. Z-move users are Manaphy and Alolan Persian. Manaphy's pretty, so I guess he has a lot of really good mons, but nothing that's like terribly broken or really threatening against my team, which is fine. But he has a lot of decent options that he can bring. Manaphy is pretty interesting just because I don't have a grass type, or my electric type is Raichu, so it's not the most reliable thing to hit Manaphy super effectively. And Manaphy's fairly bulky, so it's going to be pretty tough to kill it in at least one hit, maybe even 2 hits. And if he gets a tail glow up, I'm going to be pretty much having to sack something in order to bring in like Landorus, Mega Lopunny, Azelf, anything that's faster than it to Revenge Call. Raichu, obviously, if I bring that, would be also pretty good. Charizard X at +1. It's going to be annoying because I can't bring Scarf Hydreigon and expect to outspeed it unless he doesn't run a lot of speed. So I'd have to run like Scarf Landorus. Mega Lopunny would have to have a lot of priority. Or run Scarf Azelf because Scarf Raichu is not going to do much either. Donphan is pretty annoying. He can be physically defensive with like Rocky Helmet to do a lot of chip to my Mega Lopunny and take it on 1v1. He can have Ice Shard for Landorus and do a lot of damage to it. He can Rapid Spin Spikes away from Skarmory, Ice Shard the Hydreigon, knock off the Azelf and the Muck, so I don't activate my barrier like an Assault Vest, and then he can Earthquake afterwards. So, like, he's not going to win the game with Donphan. I mean, I'm saying that now. Hopefully he doesn't win with Rock Polish Donphan, but it's going to be very annoying. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage with his Donphan. Togekiss, just because if he's Scarfed, he wins the game with Air/Flinches. Scizor shouldn't be that bad against my team. I had a lot of ways to Revenge Kill it, but Slurpuff is pretty much not a bring because of it. Zeraora is fast, but he doesn't have Z-move access, so it doesn't hit as hard. And I should be hitting it really hard with like Mega Lopunny and Landorus. I'm not really too worried about Zeraora. Raichu handles it pretty well. Muck handles it decently. Miltank had taken on okay, though like Life Orb, Max Attack, Close Combat does a lot. Celebi, bulky, but I have Alolan Muck and Hydreigon, not too worried. Gengar, same thing. I could have, I probably won't have Scarf Hydreigon because it wouldn't outspeed the Zardex, so he would consider that, so maybe Gengar is a bring, but Alolan Muck 100% shuts it down. Alolan Persian, Landorus plus Mega Lopunny settles it. Archeops, I have Skarmory, Mega Lopunny, and Revenge Kill, Azelf, and then he has Cutiefly Venipede. So Fake Out lead would be pretty bad against Venipede. Cutiefly, he has Shield Dust, so he would be able to like take on a Fake Out, return lead Mega Lopunny to prevent hazards because he wouldn't get flinched from the Fake Out, and you could set up Sticky Webs. So I do have to watch out for that. And that's why I have Defog on his Landorus here, just in case. Earth Power, Rock Slide, U-Turn, Defog with speed to add speed to space 100s, which are Zardex, Manaphy, and Celebi. Oh yeah, that's awesome. He has a lot of like speed, a lot of multiple mons in the same speed tier, like Zard, Manaphy, Celebi in the same speed, Gengar, Archeops, and basically Alolan Persian the same speed. So there's definitely gaps there. It's like my Azelf outspeeds everything except for the Zeraora. Landorus outspeeds his space 100s, which is really clutch. So I have a pretty good speed advantage against his team. But Landorus, anyway, he has enough bulk to live a Hidden Power Ice from a neutral, no special attack. Zeraora, like I would imagine he would be max attack and enough speed add speed Mega Lopunny. And then the rest could go into bulk I don't think he would bring a special attack investment, but he could. And the bulk also allows me to live a Flare Blitz from Mega Charizard at neutral unless he's Adamant, which he could bring Adamant, but I feel like he would also want to add speed my Hydreigon. Rock Slide is there to hit the Zardex in case he wants a Dragon Dance and not Mega Evolve, predicting me to go for the Earth Power. Rock Slide also hits the Archeops and the Togekiss. Next I have Muck. Max HP, Max Attack, Curse, Poison Jab, Knockoff. This does really well against his team. Like, Charizard X would be able to hit through this pretty hard, even if I'm only at, like, +1. He'll still do a lot of damage to me. And especially because he could Dragon Dance and, like, kind of keep up with me, so that would be an issue. Another issue would be, like, Tail Glow Manaphy. But other than that, it's pretty bulky, this Alolan Muck, especially I get Curses up. And the special attacking side, he really doesn't have much to get, like, past me besides, like, Air Slash Flinches with Togekiss or, like, a +6 Manaphy. So they're really the only things I have to worry about. Poison Jab, Knockoff do pretty decent damage versus his entire team. Knockoff's especially nice to make sure Donphan doesn't get leftovers recovery, and Poison Jab, I could poison it. Because Donphan is going to be kind of shutting down the set with Knockoff to take away my berry, plus Earthquake to obviously hit me. Vaporeon has enough special defense to live a +3 Energy Ball and roar out a Manaphy if it gets out of hand. He is a Z Manaphy set, so in case he's like Z Rain Dance, Tail Glow, Energy Ball, Scald, that would be pretty decent against my team. I guess mine is the Hydreigon. But Hydreigon's not a great switch into Manaphy because he could have Dazzling Gleam or Ice Beam anyway. So I'd be able to roar that set out. Scald, hopefully pass some burns along to like the Donphan or the Archeops or the Sizzlorb. And then basically max the rest and max defense to live hits from Mega Charizard X. Mega Lopunny, I have the pretty standard set here, Fake Out, Quick Attack, Frustration, High Jump Kick. Enough speed to add speed to base 110s. I don't add speed, max speed Alolan Persian, but like Play Rough is not going to be doing much. Alolan Persian does not hit that hard. Mine is like Foul Play, and I resist it, so I should be okay there. Fake Out Quick Attack does like 50% to Charizard X, so I should be able to revenge kill it, at least somewhat, and also do decent damage to the Zeraora, especially if he goes for like a close combat before, and with the minus defenses, I'll be doing a lot of damage to it. Return hits a lot of his team pretty hard. Otherwise, like the Scizor, I would need High Jump Kick for, or Fire Punch even. I debated that, but decided to go for High Jump Kick for like if I wanted a slightly harder hit overall, then I have that option there. Next, I have Azov, Choice Scarf to add speed, the Charizard X, and I guess like a Scarf Gengar or Scarf Archeops. I do Speed Tie with the Alolan Persian this set. I mean, I don't do a ton to it, like Energy Ball, Flamethrower, but I can also U-turn out on it, but I wouldn't expect a Scarf Alolan Persian in this game anyway. Psychic for Stab, Energy Ball does a lot more damage to Donphan and does more damage to Manaphy than Psychic does. And Flamethrower hits the Scizor, U-turn for Momentum. Last Pokemon I have is Defensive Miltank, again to kind of take on a Charizard X. I should be able to Toxic, Drink, stall it out. And I'm running Return on last set because I don't want to Body Slam the Charizard X in case he doesn't get a bunch of paralyses in a row and can just Dragon Dance up and have even more speed. I really wouldn't have a way to wear it down. So Toxic allows me to do that. So that's my team. Let's get right into the game. Alright, here we are for the game against Aberforth. And as you can see from his team, he pretty much brings everything that I would have expected. I had Scizor on the list over like Celebi, but really between the 7 of Manaphy, Zardex, Donphan, Togekiss, Scizor, Zeraora, Celebi, I expected 6 of those, so they all did come. So his Stealth Rock options are Celebi or the Donphan. My Azov should outspeed everything unless he's like Scarf Zeraora, which seems weird because I do have Landorus, so I'm not too worried about that. So what I want to do in this matchup is to get rocks as soon as possible, hopefully before the Zard comes in and take 50% of his health off. And at that point, Azov should kill with Psychic after rocks, or Mega Lopunny can kill after rocks with Fake Out plus Quick Attack is my game plan. So I'm going to lead with my Miltank, and he's going to lead with a Togekiss. I do want to get rocks up as soon as possible, but with lead Togekiss, I expect him to be Trick. So if I go with rocks here, it would be pretty bad for me. So I could either stay in, just continuously rock, and he gets a free switch in into like Manaphy and sets up a Tail Glow, which I can deal with, but I would take a lot of damage off on my Vaporeon in exchange for that. And if I go for rocks here and he tricks me, then he could also just defog as I switch out. So I don't really gain a whole lot there besides just switch initiative, I suppose. But I would get my Miltanks tricked, which isn't the greatest. But I really don't have an alternative switching, because if he's not tricked, then Mega Lopunny is kind of screwed in that regard. So I'm going to just stay in and go for a Toxic. If I miss, it's pretty bad, but in the worst case scenario, even if I'm choice locked into Toxic, that's still fine. Like, I can get his Donphan. Like, if I go for rocks and he tricks, he could go into Donphan and also Rapid Spin if he's not defog Togekiss. I feel like Toxic was just the overall best play here. And EC does go for the trick, which is not that bad for me, because now I outspeed everything, unless he has a Choice Scarf user and the Zeraora. So I can get off not super strong returns, but at least they're fast. And especially if I can get a Toxic up on the Zardex, that's not the worst thing in the world for me. So I'm okay getting this Toxic on the Togekiss. I guess I don't get rocks up, but I am okay with this exchange to wear down this Togekiss. So I bring in my Vaporeon as he brings in his Celebi. So that was pretty unfortunate there. Vaporeon was pretty nice just as an overall play. I was not too afraid of anything except for the Celebi or the Zeraora by going into Vaporeon here. But he does go into Celebi, which is pretty unfortunate. So I'm going to switch out of my hard answer into Celebi and see what he does. And he gets up rocks. So I know he's obviously rocks, probably a recover move, and then maybe like Earth Power plus Psychic would make a lot of sense. So he might not be able to hit my Vaporeon, which is something to note later. So it's pretty free for me to go for the knockoff. I mean, the Zard can come in, but I'll still be doing pretty decent damage to it. And I could also Poison Jab later and maybe get a burn. So I'm going to go for the knockoff, get off any items, and we get off this leftovers from the Donphan. And based on that damage he shows, he's like max HP, max defensive, because I am max attack Muck. And like Donphan's pretty bulky, but it's not that bulky, because it generally likes to run a lot of attack on Donphan. So that's interesting to know that he's defensive. And now I know I actually live an Earthquake from this Donphan. From Muck. And even after Stealth Rock's damage is a roll in my favor to live. Now obviously I don't really want to take that risk, nor that I really need to at this point, because Vaporeon and Miltank can still switch in to Donphan, even to an extent Azelf. And as you can see, our Vaporeon doesn't take much damage at all. So I could just wish up and heal up the full. But it does give him a free switch in the Zeraora or Celebi, and he chooses to go into Celebi, which isn't the greatest. I can kind of scat out what move he goes for after I go for Protect. There was a risk that he goes for a setup move like Nasty Plot and then passes it, which would have been bad, but I have Roar. So like if he killed me with Giga Drain, that's fine. I can just go into my Muck, and I should be able to handle the Celebi at that point. But he Baton passes into Zeraora, which means he's Stealth Rock, Baton Pass, and I would assume he's Recover. So just figure out what that last move is, or if he's not Recover, maybe he's just Giga Drain and hopes to recover HP in that regard. But if he's Giga Drain Psychic, then my Muck handles that no problem. I stand with my Vaporeon on the Zeraora. The Scald, I really don't have a switch in, and he only kills me if he's Adamant, Life Orb, or Choice Banded. Plasma Fists, I live any other hit, especially because he's not Z-move. So I felt pretty comfortable at least living one hit, and maybe I can get the Scald Burn on the Zeraora and completely neuter it. What's my switch in? I guess Landorus, but then he could run Hidden Power Ice and bop me, and I guess I could go into Miltank, but Miltank I think still has more use, even though it is Choice Scarfed, especially because I do want to get rocks up. So he does go for the Plasma Fist, does not kill, not even really close to killing, obviously shows that he's not Life Orb. I Scald, do not get the burn, which isn't the worst thing, but I don't know what his item is. He's not leftovers or anything. But regardless, he kills my Vaporeon. Maybe he's like Shucka Berry in case I was like Choice Scarf Landorus, which isn't a bad bring versus his team, Choice Scarf Landorus. But I said before, I'm going to try to bring Life Orb every week. And you just have to try to deal with that because it's super strong. Now at this point, I can go into Azelf and Revenge Kill pretty easily with Psychic. Energy Ball, Flamethrower don't kill it from this range, which is unfortunate. Psychic is kind of free unless he brings in the Celebi, but I could go for U-turn, and Celebi would get really weakened, which isn't great for him to handle my Mega Lopunny. But if I go for U-turn, I also don't kill, and I don't really have a switch in. So I'm going to just go for the Psychic and kill the Zeraora, and I do so. Maybe he wasn't sure if I was going to be Scarfed or not, but I'm glad I get that threat out of the way. And he brings the Charizard in. He can kill me off, that's fine. I'm going to just go for the Psychic and bring them down under half. So that way my Mega Lopunny can kill with Fake Out plus Quick Attack. And even if I don't kill, I'll be putting it in a range where Landers can also Revenge Kill and hopefully does not have a chance to Dragon Dance plus get up a Roost. So I'm going to just go for the Psychic here, and I don't do much at all. So this shows that he's actually a max HP set at least. I don't think he's any Spadef investment, but he's definitely bulky. So again, I'm fine going for the Psychic and taking half his health off, because even if he Dragon Dances there, I'll be able to add speed, and if he's only max HP, then I got like a lower roll, so I can 2 a KO the Charizard, especially, and there's a chance I can crit or get a Spadef drop, so I was okay sacking off my Azelf to keep the Zard low. But based off this damage from the Azelf on the Celebi, he's max HP, but he's probably max HP, max defensive, which will take on my Mega Lopunny, so that makes a ton of sense. And it also kind of takes on my Lanners, because I can only hit it with U-turn. So I go into Muck, which he knows is my dedicated answer, and he Baton Passes into Donphan, which is a good play because my Donphan answers are not great. I can go into Miltank and take like 25-30%, but at that point I'm either just milk drinking it off, returning and not doing a ton to it, and sacking off my Miltank, or getting a Toxic and giving like a free switch back into Celebi. Landers doesn't want to take an Ice Shard. Mega Lopunny can take a hit, but I can't kill in return, and Muck can take a hit but doesn't want to. So therefore I have to go into Azelf and just hope he clicks Earthquake. If he goes for knockoff, that would be a great play. But he goes for the Earthquake, which is great. And he is in range of my Energy Ball. And he probably knows that, but he might also not expect me to bring an Energy Ball. I'm not sure. Psychic would also do a ton of damage to where at a point of Fake Out plus Quick Attack would kill from my Mega Lopunny. And I would be fine with that too. But I'm actually going to U-turn out, predicting him to save his Donphan, because it does a lot of damage to my team with Earthquake plus Ice Shard, even from like a defensive set. So I can bring in my Mega Lopunny and just go for the Fake Out and get my Mega up. And Fake Out plus Return should kill this Togekiss, because it's not, I'm guessing it's not bulky, and it doesn't have to be because it doesn't have the Choice Scarf. But yeah, based on that Fake Out damage on the Celebi, he is definitely max HP, max defensive. And I go for the Frustration here, which kind of seems weird. I don't know what his last move is. Well, I don't know what his last 2 moves are. I only know he's Stealth Rocks and he's Baton Pass. But I go for the Frustration there because if he does go for the Baton Pass, predicting me to bring in my Muck right here, then he won't recover leftovers, and he'll be at 41% when he Baton Passes out. And then my Mega Lopunny can kill with a Fake Out plus Frustration later on in the game. So as we can see here, he goes for the cover. So I know 3 of his moves. I was pretty confident he wasn't going to click Psychic there, but if he does have Psychic, I'm pretty confident he's going to click it now. So I'm going to go into my Alolan Muck, scanning out. The worst thing, like, your Earth Powers, like, that doesn't really make much sense. Or maybe he Lead Seeds would also be an issue, but he goes for the Psychic. So I know his 4 moves, and I know my Muck 100% counters this Celebi. I mean, I guess unless he PP stalls me, which I don't think would happen in this game. So, especially because I have a chance to get a Poison with Poison Jab. So my Muck's in a pretty good spot here, and this is a very free opportunity to click Poison Jab. Knockoff would be nice in the chance that he brings a Manaphy, but I don't think he would do that. That's early on in the match. I can get a Poison on the Donphan or the Charizard, and I could probably kill the Togekiss from where it's at. And he can't stay in. He has to Baton Pass out. And he chooses to go into Donphan, and I just gotta hope I get a Poison. That'd make it very ideal. And I do get a Poison. That's great for me. I'll be able to finally wear down this Donphan. So I'm going to go in my Miltank here. I'm fine at this point with like somewhat sacking it off. And goes for Earthquake. It does not much damage at all. At this point, I could go for returns. But the problem with that is I go for returns, he dies, then he goes into Charizard X and sets up a Dragon Dance, and he probably wins the game because my Psychic plus my Fake Out plus my Quick Attack is not going to kill the Donphan. because I know he's bulky. So I'm going to go for the rocks here. I could also have gone for the toxic, which would have been a little weird because the Donphan is already poisoned, and he could have brought his Celebi in for free, but time passed out, gone back into Donphan, and the same issue would have arose there. So I'm going to just keep going for Stealth Rocks, and he's going to keep going for Rapid Spin, which is a good play for him. And now at this point, he should die to his poison because 13% is really 12%. It's just weird how the math works on Showdown, so I'm going to go into my Mega Lopunny and predicting to go for Rapid Spin because he doesn't want Rocks Up to get that extra chip on his Charizard X. He can't really afford that. And worse, he goes for an Earthquake and does like, well, I don't know, 35-40% to me because he is the defensive Donphan. It's not going to do that much. So he does go for the Rapid Spin, so I'm okay with this. And even if he didn't die there, I just fake out and kill with my Mega Lopunny. If he was like above 12.5% but under 13%. So I kill, and he brings in a Celebi. Again, this is a pretty free switch into my Alolan Muck, because he knows he can't do anything besides Psychic here. But he also, well, he doesn't know my moveset yet on Muck. He just knows I'm Poison Jab and Knockoff. It would give me a nice opportunity to set up curses on a Celebi. But first I'm going to fake out because there's no reason not for me to do that, just to get that little bit of chip on. And at this point, I'm not going to risk my my Lopunny, and I'm going to go into my Azelf, because I felt like if I go into my Muck there, then again, Charizard has a chance to set up. Now I can curse alongside like a Dragon Dance bulky Charizard X, but I'm not doing much damage back to it. Like 30-ish%-ish. So if I get the +1, I'm at like 45%. But if he's like Swords Dance and has Earthquake, then that would be a pretty big problem for my Muck. And if he's like bulky with Will-O-Wisp, that would also be a problem for my Muck. So I'm going to go to my Azelf instead, because it forces him to go into Charizard. Now at this point, again, I'm okay with going for the Psychic and bringing his Charizard down to like 50%. Because first, if he doesn't Dragon Dance and my Landers comes in and gets a kill, if he does go for the Dragon Dance, I'll be pinning it for Psychics, and I might be able to 2-hit KO, but if not, I'll be putting it in range to where Mega Lopunny can fake out Quick Attack and kill this Charizard, no issue. So I'm going to just go for the Psychic. If he sets up, he has a chance of dying to a second Psychic, though I got probably a min roll if he's max HP, max attack. He could be a max HP and some Spadef. Again, I'm not sure if it's set, but regardless, he kills my Azelf there, which I'm fine with. I can bring in my Landers, and because I add speed this Charizard, I will be able to kill anything on his team at this point, unless he brought in, even a Celebi wouldn't really want to take a Earth Power plus a U-turn. So I killed a Charizard, that's great. He brings in a Togekiss. Now I kill with 2 Rock Slides, but if he's like Hidden Power Ice, he would probably kill. And that would be pretty unfortunate because Landers is nice because it puts a massive chunk into Manaphy. And I can U-turn on the Celebi and also do a massive chunk to that too. So I'm going to go into my Muck first I'm going to go into Miltank and sack it off because I don't need it for anything. And then I'm going to go into Muck and just continuously recycle, because eventually this Togekiss is going to die to the toxic damage. And he doesn't have the best switch in either to this Muck just sitting out there, especially if I'm like at 75-80%. Then the Manaphy doesn't really want to take this on because I can poison with a Poison Jab and do like 40-ish%, or probably like 35-40% to the Manaphy. And then it would probably put it in range where I can Revenge Kill with Mega Lopunny or Landers. So he flinches a couple times there, pops my berry, but if I can recycle here, I'm fine, but he flinches. So that's pretty unfortunate. If he goes for an Air Slash again, and unless he misses, then he kills my Muck. And that's problematic because it is still pretty tough for me to kill a Celebi. Mega Lopunny won't be able to do it. And Landorus does like 50-ish% with U-turn. But Landorus also doesn't kill the Manaphy. So I do need this Muck. So I'm going to have to go into my Landorus here and hope he doesn't Hidden Power Ice and kills my Landorus, because otherwise I would probably lose the game at that point, unless I got really lucky with crits. Though Muck could still maybe pull out the win here. So he goes for the Air Slash. I live it. As long as I don't miss the Rock Slide, I'm okay. Because obviously U-turn and Earth Power are not going to kill. Fortunately, I do hit, and I kill this Togekiss, so that's great. At this point, he goes into Manaphy, and I'm going to just go for the Earth Power. There's no point in me saving my Landers just to get a U-turn off on a Celebi, because I do have a Muck that 100% walls it. So I'm going to go for the Earth Power, and I should put this in range to where Mega Lopunny kills with Return or High Jump Kick, which is definitely in range of right now. So this is great. He kills me with Scald and reveals that he is not leftovers, at least. So he's probably Z-move, I would imagine. But I go into my Lopunny here because Muck has a chance to... Well, Muck would be at 12%, so I can't really go into Muck in this play. I have to go into Mega Lopunny, go for the Return, and try to kill this Manaphy. And he knows this, and he can switch into Celebi pretty easily and take 2 hits, unless if I crit. And then I would win the game anyway, and he couldn't really do much about it. Because if I killed his Manaphy, then I win the game, because Muck just recycles. I don't even have to recycle, I can just knock off Poison Jab and kill the Celebi and win 1-0 there. So I'm going to make the play and double switch back out into Muck, because I think he has to make the play in the Celebi here, because he needs his Manaphy alive in order to win the game. So this is great for me. I can recycle and get back up to a range where I could live a Hydro Vortex from the Manaphy. So I'm pretty happy about that, but I am still in range where he could kill me with a Hydro Vortex. It's a close roll. So what I'm going to do here is going to switch back into my Mega Lopunny. Now I do this again because if he goes for Hydro Vortex, he could take out my Muck. And if he takes out my Muck, then I lose the Celebi, because I won't be able to... unless if I double... What's my HP right now with Lopunny? I probably don't take a Psychic even from defensive Celebi, just because of how strong Celebi is with base 100 stats. So at this point, I'm going to sack off the Mega Lopunny, go back into Muck, recycle with Papa Berry and just stay healthy, and hopefully he doesn't burn with Scald if he runs Scald, or hopefully eventually get a Poison, and just hope he's not like a Z Rain Dance Rust set and probably lose the game that way. So I go into Mega Lopunny, as he does not go for the Z move, he goes for the Scald, and he does not get a burn. So that's great for me. It puts me in a really good spot here to just click Return for free. Now again, I could have gone into Muck here, predicting him to go into Celebi, because again, if he has to switch out into Celebi here because he loses if I kill with my Lopunny on his Manaphy. So going into Muck there wasn't a bad play, but he also might have predicted me to over-predict in that regard. And if I go into Muck there as he Scalds, then I lose the game. So it was kind of like a 50-50 there, but I just go for the frustration and hit what's in front of me. It's slightly more than a 50-50 in my favor, because if he does this play, which he does go into Celebi, I could always crit. And one crit would put me in a better position. So it was a slightly better than a 50-50 in this regard. So if I go for the frustration, I can go back into my Muck, because I hard wall this Celebi with my Muck. But he can just Baton Pass back into Manaphy, and again, he could be a Z move, and I'm at 50%, so that's also a little bit risky there. So what I'm going to do is go for the Return again, because the worst case scenario is that his Celebi kills my Mega Lopunny with Psychic, then I bring in my Muck, I recycle, get back up to full, and I should be able to win this game at this point. Even like a Z move wouldn't be able to kill me. Even like a Z move plus a regular move probably doesn't kill me. So I'm going to go for the frustration here, as he's going to Baton Pass and go into Manaphy. So he predicts me to go into Muck there, and at this point I win the game because I've killed the Manaphy and the Celebi with frustration. So very close game there. It was pretty clutch, like in the middle of the game where I predict him to go for Earthquake from his Donphan on my Azelf. If he'd gone for Knockoff, I would have been in really bad shape there, but going for that aggressive play gave me a little bit more momentum throughout this game, prevented his Charizard from maybe setting up a Dragon Dance, and ultimately Mega Lopunny was able to come in clutch plus Muck in the late game. So I am able to pull out a win. It brings me to 1-2 with 0 differential. So Not the greatest start, but I'm definitely okay with this. And I'm actually, I believe, in the top half of the league with this record. So it's just crazy how close the competition is for this season in the NPL. It's pretty exciting. A good game, Aberforth. You have a really cool team, so I'm sure you're going to bounce back from this. But until next time, later, guys.